continuation learning of science and mathematics education. Which subject are we looking at today? We are going to be looking at this subject subject chemistry. And what is the topic for today's subject? We are going to be looking at compound. So as we normally do on this channel, what are going to be our learning objective? That is what are you going to learn in today's topic. Our learning objective, first we are going to define what is compound. We now look at examples of compound. We now look at states of compound. Some compound are in liquid, solid, some are in gas. Okay, I haven't said that. Let's take them one by one. What is a compound? Why do you have to study compound? What is the importance of compound? We find out that most of the things we use in our household, things we have around us, some of them they are compound. Example of common one is normally seen everywhere. The liquid one called water. We have common soap we normally eat at home. And so many, even the soap that we used to bake, soap is also a compound. Okay, so that means the importance of compound can never be overemphasized. So compound is very, very important. So we come across them day in, day out in our activities. So what do you call it? How do we define a compound? Chemical term. You can say a compound is a substance which contains two or more elements chemically combined together. In the previous class, I have discussed at length what do you call an element. What is the symbol of element? We have so many elements. But in today's program, once we go further, that's what we are talking about, what compound. A compound is a substance which contains two or more elements chemically combined together. So that means that when we are talking about compound, we have to talk about at least two elements, three elements, or four elements. That makes up a compound. So that means the elements are present inside compound and they are chemically combined together. So let's put it down. What is a compound? A compound is a substance. That contain or which contain two or more elements chemically combined together. So when you're talking about compound, you must have at least two elements there. It can be two, it can be three, it can be four, on like that. So these are to define compound in chemistry, science. Having said that, so the key one says that element must be present in a compound. Let us now look at examples of compound. What are the examples? Examples of compound. What are the examples of compound? We have so many examples. The most common one is called water, which we use our daily activities. Water is a compound. Why do we say water is a compound? One thing is that most compound must have chemical formula. A compound must have a chemical formula. That's why I say that elements that chemically combine together. So the beauty of compound is that they must have a chemical formula. What used to represent them? The chemical formula of water is H2O. And when I say H2O, H is for hydrogen, O is for oxygen. So this compound contains two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. I have discussed what is atom in the previous class. We discussed atom, we discussed element. So an atom is what? Is the smallest divisible particle of an element or elemental unit. It's called atom. So this water contains hydrogen and oxygen. These are the two main elements inside water. So water is an example of compound. So you guys can see here, this one is an example of compound. H2O, water. Okay. Another example of compound is called sand. Sand is an example of compound. Why do we say sand is an example of compound? Sand, SiO2, silicon oxide. Silicon is symbol I, silicon oxide. Sand is SiO2, silicon oxide. Sand, that's the formula of sand. Sand is a compound. Another we have what? Soap. Soap is also an example of a compound. So I think 631, 613, 831, COONA, something like this. Soap is a compound. Although this one is a liquid soap. This one is a liquid soap. So soap is an example of a compound. This one is liquid soap. Soap is an example of compound. Okay. We have said sand is an example of a compound. This is our sand. Sand is an example of a compound. Sand. Okay. Another one is called, we have so many of them. Sodium chloride. Common salt. Let's say common salt. Common salt. Otherwise called sodium chloride. Sodium chloride has a chemical formula, NaCl. Like I've said, compound, you must have chemical formula. What used to work to represent them. So sodium chloride, you have sodium chloride here. Okay, let me show you this sodium chloride, NaCl. Let's read it out. So this is sodium chloride. Now spatula. This sodium chloride is an example of a compound. Sodium chloride. When you put it here, so this is a compound. Sodium chloride. Compound. Okay. Sodium chloride is a compound. You see it. Okay. So many of them. Potassium iodide, potassium dichromate, copper 2 sulfate, copper 2 sulfate. Copper 2 sulfate is also what? A compound. A compound. Copper 2 sulfate is also a compound. These are copper 2 sulfates. Copper 2 sulfate is also a compound. Put it. Copper 2 sulfate is also a compound. Blue in color. Okay. So you can see that compounds can be found like that. Let's take it off from there. Another is called what? So copper sulfate. Can put it there. Copper sulfate is a compound. Copper sulfate is CuSO4 is a compound. Okay, so many like that. We also have petrol is a compound. Petroleum is a mixture, but petrol is a compound. Another one is what we have is called. You can also have carbon 4 oxide. Carbon 4 oxide is a compound. Carbon 4 oxide is a compound. CO2 is a compound. All these ones are gas. CO2, well, sulfur 4 oxide. Sulfur 4 oxide. SO2. This one is also a compound. So what I have drawn here is that a compound can be in liquid form, can be in what? Solid form, also be what? Gas. So these two they are what? Gas. CO2 and SO2. Gas. Sodium chloride and copper. So this one are what? Solid. You saw it. Solid. And then what? Water is a liquid. Liquid. And we also have liquid soap. So compound can exist in more than one state. So compound can be in solid state, like sand. It can be in what? Liquid state, like water. It can be in gas. Sulfur 4 oxide, carbon 4 oxide, nitrogen 4 oxide, or nitrogen 2 oxide. On and on. That's what we are saying. So a compound is a substance that contains two or more elements chemically combined together. So that's what we are saying. There's a formula for sand, formula for water, formula for soap, formula for our common salt we normally use at home. There's a formula for gas. Okay? SO2, CO2, methane. Methane is also a gas. Methane, CH4. Methane is also a gas. So in a nutshell, a gas a compound can be in liquid form, can be in solid, can be in what? Gas form. Why? Water contains hydrogen and oxygen. Sand contain silicon and oxygen. Soap contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and sodium. Common salt contain sodium and chlorine. Copper sulfate contain copper, sulfur and oxygen. So this compound contain 3 elements. This one contain 2 elements. This one contain what? 1, 2, 4 elements. This one contain 2 elements. This one also contain what? 2 elements. So that's what we are saying. So we are able to see what is called a compound. We are giving example of a compound, the state of compound, either liquid form, solid form, or gas. So that's what we are saying. I'll show you various examples of compound. So this is where we are going to stop today. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can be able to see all the previous subjects we have done and the one we are still going to do, and all the topics we have done. Beside chemistry, I teach you. We have physics, we teach physics, we teach biology, we teach what mathematics on this channel, Science Chem Master. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you see other subjects and topics. Till we meet again, I say you should remain